comfiest sofas you'll ever see.
The new upholstered dining chair collection, starting at $9.16 at Penny Mustard.
6 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want. For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, your crown's disappearing, hair loss can feel like identity theft. It's Bo Duran, and I've got good news. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the advanced method we made for advanced hair. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They may sometimes help retain what you have, but
Let's see if they fill these potholes, huh? Well, they did a little bit there in the middle, huh? Those were filled yesterday. That was done yesterday already. They didn't do those, right? They didn't do those in the middle there. Yeah, I don't know how they do. Look at that big one there. I don't know how they do those and they don't do these, right? But did they run out of there? Those are big ones there, right? Look at all that concrete there busted up. Yeah, it don't look like they came out and did these, huh? Alright, there we go. Oh, we'll wait. Maybe they'll do it over the weekend. Yeah, they didn't fix that deep one there. See the deep one there? I guess the wolf pack didn't make it out here to fix these potholes yet, huh?
development and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversions, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any repairs you need to take care of, check us out at AmericanEagle.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project,
There you go. They didn't fix that pothole. It's still right there. You see it right there? And the concrete that I talked about yesterday is all busted up. That's the concrete right there, right? It's all right. You see the concrete loose right there? It's all loose concrete. See that? See the loose concrete? There you go. It's really dangerous, huh? And you think about this. If that's what I can see that's busted, if I can see what's busted that readily, what else is bad, right? You kind of get what I'm saying? If that's what you see and it's right in front of you, what else is broken there, right? What other things are broken that we don't know about, right? Is there metal that's rusted, the beams? Is there bolts busted? Remember that I used to be an architecture teacher too, and I taught about the, by the way, SubX.News on the spot report. I taught about 9/11. The reason 9/11, the buildings fell was because of the bolts. And it wasn't because they failed, it was because of the heat. So the same thing can happen here, right? Maybe they get rusted or some bad things happen. And it's not that the bolt itself is bad, but that certain things happen to it that it's not taken care of, and then they get weak. And if they get weak, then things happen. It can collapse. There's something to think about.
Featuring the news that matters and breaking news at any time. This is Chicago's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Coming up in the next half hour on News Radio WBBM, the shooting death of a Chicago police officer last weekend sparks a proposed change to Illinois' bail reform law. The man charged with murdering a Loyola student last month pleads not guilty to all of the charges against him. And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth faces grilling by lawmakers about the war in Iran. More on that coming up from CBS News. In business,
stocks ending mostly lower today as oil prices soar higher and the Fed leaves rates unchanged. The Dow down 280 points. The Nasdaq managing a gain of 9. The S&P down 3. I'm Tom Busby at Bloomberg.
partly sunny, 51 degrees at 4 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth faced some heated questions from lawmakers about the war with Iran. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
It was Hegseth's first public appearance before Congress since the war began. Democratic Representative John Garamendi.
You have misled the public about why we are at war. You and the president have offered ever-changing reasons for this war. The president has got himself and America stuck in the quagmire of another war in the Middle East.
You should know better. Shame on you. Calling this a quagmire 2 months in. Handing propaganda to our enemies.
Democrats have failed to pass multiple war power resolutions that would have required President Trump to halt the conflict until Congress authorizes further action.
The Supreme Court strikes down Louisiana's congressional map that includes 2 majority black districts. The ruling is consistent with
the Constitution should be colorblind, and they're rejecting in case after case anything that would look like a so-called racial preference. That's what we saw 3 years ago when they struck down affirmative action in college admissions.
Prosecutors say the suspect in the White House correspondent's dinner shooting appears to have started planning the attack 3 weeks ago when he began to search online about the event. CBS's Katrina Kaufman adds.
There's this selfie photo that Cole Allen took in his hotel room, and he has these various weapons on him. So they say that he appeared to be wearing a small leather bag that was consistent in appearance with an ammunition-filled bag, which they later recovered from him at the scene. They say there was a shoulder holster with a sheathed knife, also pliers and wire cutters.
President Trump says he had a very good conversation today with Russian President Putin about Ukraine and Iran. The president was asked what role Putin said he wanted to play in the war with Iran.
He told me he'd like to be involved with the enrichment if he can help us get it. I said I'd much rather have you be involved with ending the war with Ukraine.
Jerome Powell says he plans to remain on the board of the Federal Reserve after his term as chair ends next month for an undetermined period of time. He points to the recent legal actions taken by the Trump administration against the Fed as his reason for staying on. Also, the Fed leaves its benchmark interest rate unchanged.
Consumer spending has been resilient, and business fixed investment has continued to expand at a brisk pace. In contrast, activity in the housing sector has remained weak.
Amazon reports an increase in profits and sales for the first quarter, fueled by its cloud computing unit. This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 28 hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
SubX.News on the spot reporting, 4:02 p.m. Now we're going to listen to local news, and then we'll see what we do next, all right? Maybe we'll listen to some radio calls, travel around. It got cold all of a sudden.
It is Wednesday, the 29th day of April. Thanks for joining us. This afternoon, I'm Lisa Fielding. We have some light rain reported at O'Hare, where it's 48 degrees, chilly lakefront. Temperatures only in the mid-40s, north winds at 15 miles an hour. Kind of a chilly work week ahead. The weekend and the 5-day forecast coming up at 4:15. But first, at 4, the shooting death of a Chicago police officer by a suspect who was wearing an ankle monitor has now prompted a new proposed change to the state's landmark bail reform law. The details from WBBM political editor Jeff Kugler.
This law is not working the way Democrats promised.
And State House Republican leader Tony McCombie says last weekend's shooting at Swedish hospital that killed Officer John Bartholomew is just the latest example of violent suspects committing more crimes after being released from custody. She's driving a new proposal in Springfield that would mandate detention for any suspect accused of committing a violent felony while wearing an ankle monitor. Governor J.B. Pritzker says he's open to changes, but told reporters that in this case, the judge never should have released the suspect with a monitor.
In most of the cases where Republicans have complained about the safety, it's actually been the bad decision by an elected judge.
Cook County State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke has said the shooting shows that the county's electronic monitoring program is broken. The governor did not disagree.
What she said is fundamentally accurate.
Jeff Buckles, News Radio 1059, WBBM.
Meantime, the 25-year-old man from Venezuela, charged with murder in connection to the shooting of a Loyola student last month, was arraigned in a Chicago courtroom today. Jose Medina pled not guilty. The shooting near Loyola Beach on the north side took the life of 18-year-old Sheridan Gorman. Her father, Thomas Gorman, spoke to reporters after this morning's hearing.
When people ask us what we want, here's the answer. We want accountability in the courtroom. We want accountability from those responsible for enforcing the laws that already exist. And we want real meaningful change that puts public safety over politics.
The Department of Homeland Security says Medina entered the country illegally in 2023 and was arrested for shoplifting in Chicago that year. His lawyers say he was bussed here by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Medina will remain in custody as the case proceeds. No word yet on a next court date. Months after a teenager was shot and critically wounded outside of a Southside stadium, a woman is now charged.
Chicago police arrested 31-year-old Darnisha Jones on Monday. She's now charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and battery causing great bodily harm. Investigators say Jones was in a car that approached a 15-year-old boy outside of Gately Stadium in the Pullman neighborhood in late August of 2024. She's then accused of opening fire and striking the teen in the abdomen. He was taken to a hospital in critical condition. Exactly what led up to the gunfire, still unclear. Andy Dane, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Kane County Coroner's Office working to identify the body of a man found in the Fox River today. St. Charles Police and the fire department responded to the west side of the river near 2nd and Main for an unresponsive man there. Investigators remain tight-lipped about what they know, but they continue to search for more clues about what led up to the man's death or how he got in the water. Oaklawn police arrest a man in connection to a series of burglaries targeting video game terminals at local businesses.
21-year-old Dianis Neely of Chicago faces multiple felony charges, including burglary and theft. Oaklawn police say Neely is a suspect in a burglary that happened at Just My Luck Bar near Cicero and 92nd Street around 4:15 a.m. on December 9th of 2025. 5 people were caught on security video at the bar during the incident. The crew targeted video gaming terminals inside the business and stole cash and damaged several machines. Police are still investigating other burglaries similar to this one in the area. Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
And a Northwest Indiana man accused of using an injured dog to steal thousands of dollars from online followers looking to help.
Cherville police say 39-year-old Eduardo Castro of Gary, Indiana, ran a Facebook scam that got him more than $5,000. Castro allegedly posted to a local lost and found pets group about a dog named Brownie, claiming the animal was hurt in a hit and run and included a GoFundMe link. One donor says she was promised reimbursement but ended up losing more than $3,000 without getting a cent back. Now, police say Castro used the fake name Tom Green, and when donors asked about the money, he claimed it had been seized in a child support case. Castro was charged with 4 counts of fraud. He has posted bail. When Marshall, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
It's 4:08. Time now for traffic and weather together on Yates. Here's Neil Fiorito.
There you go. Traffic and weather, it's moving and it's cold. SubX.News. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go see what's going on. Man, I don't know. Look, I don't know how old all of you guys are that are watching. Some are young, some are older, some are whatever. I'm 58. All I know is this. This weather is messed up. That's all I know. And I remember those, you know, when we had our elders, our moms, dads, and grandmas, and it's like, oh, yeah, this is how it is when you get a little older. Yeah, it messes. Now I know why people go to Arizona and New Mexico, right, and southern Texas, right, because it's steady there. Even though it might be hot, it's not this crazy whatever we're dealing with. What was it? Wasn't it like 80 degrees a few days ago? I was out doing that, you seen my posts about the, the Earth Day. We were out at the ranch the other day. What's up, Isidore? I'm talking about the weather. You know what I'm talking about. This weather is wild. And I think we were in t-shirts. I was sweating. I had so much clothes on. And, yeah. And now it's, 40 again? So, we'll see. We're gonna go around. We'll see what's going on. Maybe we do a short show today. I didn't do my movie day yesterday. Tuesdays are usually movie days. I ended up wandering around. I ended up at that shooting scene and stolen cars. So I found out those were gangs. I don't post. I do some gang post things on our page. I don't like to do a lot. And look, if you're in a gang and you're hooked up, I'm cool with you, man. As long as you're not banging on my page, that's all. You're all right. What people choose to do is fine with me, as long as you're not messing with people in the public and innocent people. That's your life choice. I could care less. And gangs are life choices for a lot of people in Chicago. Some are forced into it. Some like the lifestyle. And then there's the last part that are criminals, right? It is what it is. I'm not promoting gangs, but I understand that as a lifelong resident in Chicago, that's a reality, right? So I don't, as long as you're not doing your gang stuff on my page, you're fine, but there's a lot of information that gang pages and gang people have that are important. So the reason I said that whole thing, let me hear if the news is on. If the news comes back on, I'll turn it on. Is they said that there was one group that was shooting at the other group, and I forget which one it is. It's on my Twitter page. On Twitter, I use a little bit more direct language. But one group was shooting at another group. That's what happened. And they were shooting at them over there, over about Ogden and Sacramento, which is a hot zone. They're always shooting over there. They're always shooting over there. By the Mount Sinai in the back, right? You know where I'm talking about. They're always shooting in that area. Yeah, that's a hot spot. They shot at cops over there once. Sheriff's police. Gangs did. So, you can talk about gangs without glorifying them. You can even talk about gang members who were shot and killed without glorifying it, right? Because it's a fact of life.
The Attorney General's office wants to help Hoosiers get real-time prices at gas stations statewide.
The site monitors prices at more than 4,600 gas stations. You can search for a particular station and by city, town, or county. Stations are color-coded, red for increases, green if they've dropped prices more than 17 cents below the price per gallon when the state enacted a 17-cent sales tax break. That's set to end after the first week of May. It's unclear if it will be renewed. The Attorney General's office says the portal helps it monitor the market and potentially investigate retailers with unjustifiably high prices. The web address is infuelwatch.com. Mike Krauser, News Radio, 105.9 WBBM.
It's Autism Acceptance Month, and several suburban police departments are backing the blue envelope. It's an effort to ease it.
What was the website? We need to get that. I got to get that. Somebody remember that website they talk about in Indiana? We're going to get the cheap gas prices. I heard it used to be a gas station I used to go. It wasn't by Klein Avenue. It was unless it was Klein. I think it was the exit before Klein. You know where I'm talking about when you're going to Indiana? It was $1.99 all the time. That was the cheapest gas station. If I find it out, I'll tell you guys. You know, one time, and I shouldn't say this, I was going to buy these big tanks when the gas was like $5 or $6. And I was going to drive because there was places where you can get cheap gas and fill up these huge 100-gallon tanks in a truck. I was going to buy a truck and sell gas. But I think that's illegal. It's like moonshine. You can't sell it without being taxed. So I didn't do that because I don't want to go to the federal prison. I think it's a federal offense. I think it's federal or state. I don't know which one it is. But yeah, I didn't do that idea. So yeah, sometimes I have crazy ideas and I don't do them because I know they're not legal. So. Oh, by the way, Willie Nelson's birthday today. There's a good video. He's 93 today. Happy birthday, Willie. I love him, man. I love Willie. I like Merle Haggard, right? I like Chet Atkins. He was a little before Willie, right? But I like that whole outlaw group there. What was it? Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard. Who was the other two? There was two more guys, the outlaw men, right? And if I remember, I'll say it. But there's a really good video. It's got a bunch of clips that he made. Right? He's got a cool page. Willie's got a cool page. He just came out with a song, a new song about a month ago. Now, I don't know if you want to see that song, but you know, he's a weed head. He's a head, right? He smokes a lot of weed, and it's really good. Whatever he says in the video, it talks about all kinds of things. A little snort one, I think 30 seconds. But what he says in the headline is on our page. He goes, "Trust me, I'm 93. Think about it, right? You were even thinking of getting out of Chicago. Oh, I don't know about that. Are you talking to me or are you talking to Ms. Zidor? Sorry, I look at sometimes the comments, and I don't know if you're talking to me, if you're talking to somebody else. And sometimes I maybe make mistakes and block people because you're probably talking to each other. But it is what it is. So yeah, Willie Nelson, look at that video. It's a pretty good video. It's a very short video. It's got clips. It's 30 seconds or so long. But it's labeled, "Trust me, I'm 93. I think that's what's the label on it. And I reposted it. And you think about it. And I think his biggest thing was this. Why worry? Because you can't change it anyways. And I think his biggest thing that he explained why worry is You're going to die, so why worry about it? He said that. That's on the video. It's a pretty good video, and it's got a lot of little clips, got some crazy stuff on there. But, I mean, if you think about the philosophy, and I was talking to my wife about this this afternoon, because I showed her the clip. I said, man, it's a cool clip. I like Willie Nelson. And I said, you think about it, all the, like, bad guys always live longer. Who lived longer, the Rolling Stones or the Beatles? All the Rolling Stones guys are alive. All of them are alive. I think except one guy, a really young guy when they were really young. I think he passed away really, really young. But think about it, all the Rolling Stones main guys are still alive. The Beatles, what? You got only 2 alive left. You got Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. And Ringo Starr just came out with a new album, everybody. Look it up. I might get it. It's talking about life and the long road, right? And it's funny, I think he said something like, life is a long road, it's like a submarine. Kind of get that analogy there. But think about it, you know, the Rolling Stones, look at, who just passed away, God rest his soul, what's his name, from Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, right? All these guys that you say they were the alternative lifestyles, or the bad boys, or the bad guys, or like Willie Nelson, he's an outlaw. Man, they call, you know, he was kicked out of the country scene. He was with, you know who else was with him? Johnny Cash. Because they were breaking the mold of country and western at the time. It was more yodeling and storytelling, which they still did, but they did different way, right? That's in the rock and roll and out of the jazz era, and they started mixing stuff. And they were all called outlaws, and plus they smoked weed, and in those days, country really looked down on weed, right? That was like the hippie, it was the hippie drug, right? And they were all weed smokers, all those guys. And yeah, they were labeled outlaws, and I think they were banned from a whole bunch of stuff, and they kept going. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is, and I'm not saying do bad things, absolutely not. I'm not promoting anything, I'm not promoting whatever, but I'm just saying it's weird how these guys that are, quote, outlaws or bad guys, and they live longer than, quote, the good guys. And my wife explained it this way. We had a good discussion about it today. She goes, you know why? There's 2 things. Like Willie said, he doesn't worry about stuff. And second, they do what they want. And that's something to think about, right? That's something to think about. Do we teach our young people that philosophy? Right? Not to worry and do what you want. Because if you do what you want and you work hard, like we used to learn in school, remember, because we're part of that generation that came out of the World War II kind of, right? The baby boomers. First, there was the great generation that survived the Depression, right? Then their kids, and some of them went to World War II, but most of our peers or our parents or the people that were just before us, our teachers, all came out of that war period, out of that good period, right? Out of the baby boomers, and they reaped the benefits of winning the World War, right? That's when all the shifted to America. It solidified America as the superpower, right? There was still Russia right on the opposite end, right? That was the Cold War and Russia. It was after World War II, it was only America and Russia. There was no Japan, there was no China, there was none of that stuff, right? That doesn't mean there weren't great powers in themselves, but we were the technology advanced, and Russia was more the military advance in the brute. And again, that shows that idea that working, right? And I think that's the idea that I'm focusing on today is do what you want, and that takes work. You want to be a rapper? Fine. I'd say a lot of these guys call themselves rappers, but they're gangbangers. But you want to be a rapper and a singer? Fine, do it. You want to be a car mechanic? Fine, do it. You want to be an ambulance driver? Fine, do it. But do a good job. Live that life. Be it. That's what I learned when I went to school. I learned all these little things. Remember, we read all those books. We read history. We did typing class. We did consumers class. We did all those things that exposed us to that time, right? Ernest Hemingway, right? Mark Twain, all of those books that talked about adventure. Remember, yesterday I was talking about the different types of Americanism, right? In the beginning, we had the Pilgrims, We had the Pilgrims, remember that? We had the settlers. We had the frontiersmen. Then we had the pioneers. The frontiersmen were before the pioneers. The frontiersmen were like Daniel Boone. That's what I wanted to see yesterday. I didn't get home to see. I might go home tonight and watch. Said I was going to give you guys a link. The frontiersmen were not the revolutionaries that were fighting the political fight against the king, which is funny. We have a king now here in our country, right? King Charles. I don't know how that feels, right? He's in the country that we say, get the hell out. Where's all the king's protests? You notice that? Where's all the no king's protests? We got a king in our country. Get him out. But the point I'm trying to make here is this. That spirit of individualism, Americanism, freedom, whether it's religion, freedom of assembly, right? You want to be in a gang, you can assemble with them. That's all right, as long as you're not harming anybody. That's all right. There's a lot of stuff like that, right? But making your life the way you want it through hard work. And I don't know if they teach that anymore, because what I see a lot happening, especially in Chicago, since I worked with them, and they've changed a lot since I haven't been at the union since December of 21. So we're going on, well, you figure that 22, right? 4 years I haven't been at the union now, right? Right? So there's a lot of changes there, and one of the reasons I got let go is because I didn't agree with them. I was filing complaints against them that they were doing things that were anti-union, they were anti-democracy, they were I thought they were criminal, some of the things they were doing. In fact, in some cases, they were found guilty and violating labor rights of people, and I found them taking money of the workers, our money, right? I found it. So, but what I see now happening in the school system, I'll talk a little bit. And I mean, and that's the way I am sometimes. And we'll put on some radio calls. Is we're not teaching, and I liked it because I was in where was I? I was in Omaha, or I was in Nebraska. I don't remember. There's a great, I'll post that one too. We have a lot of good pictures of it. I don't know, it was in Bismarck. What's the main? Omaha. I think it was in Omaha. And they have the pioneers there. And they were the ones that went after the frontiersmen. And I've seen them as really tough people. Now I'm starting to read and think about these frontiersmen. They had zero. They didn't have a wagon train. They didn't have wagons. They walked. Guys like Daniel Boone walked. Might have had a horse or two, maybe. But most of that stuff was walking. They didn't have supplies. They might have had some beef jerky or something like that, but to eat, they had to find the food. To sleep, they had to find the place to sleep. They didn't have a cabin to go to. They didn't have the wagon. In those covered wagons, the schooners, right? The prairie schooners, they call them. They slept in those. Those are the modern day minivans. Think about it. Those things that we read about, remember the pioneers that went out west? Those are modern day minivans. Well, Daniel Boone and those frontiersmen didn't have that. They were sleeping on the ground. They were sleeping wherever they could. And man, maybe they knew they met up with somebody, Indians or outlaws or whoever they were. They don't know if they were going to kill them or not. They don't know what's going on there. And if there's 100 of them and there's only 5 of them, guess what? You're not going to win that one. So I guess what I'm getting to is this. Are we teaching that? And I don't think we are anymore. I know we're not teaching it in America, because I think the people that are in power now are anti-American. They're not, I wouldn't count them as communists, because communists don't do drugs and crime. You get executed in communist country. You go do drugs and crime in China and see what happens to you. Go see what happens to you in China. Go see what happens to you if you do drugs and crime in Iran, which is a theocracy. These guys support these weird governments and weird things on TV, but you couldn't do what they do here in those countries. And in China and in India especially too, they execute publicly officials who harm others. If you harm children, especially stealing from schools or harming old people, they execute those people in public. They do. They don't fool around with that stuff. Drugs, Singapore, you get executed. They don't fool around. So I don't know where this whole idea that they keep saying they're socialists and communists and all this. And Maybe they are, but I don't know of any communist country that allows drugs and criminality in their countries. It's pretty strict because they're totalitarian, right? So they're kind of a weird group. But the main part of that group is that they are anti-American. I mean, Byron Sitchko, he's trying to run for Chewy's seat now, right? He burned an American flag. Here's a sitting alderman who's from Ecuador who pretends to be Mexican that burns an American flag. Well, you're an immigrant. Everything you got is here. And his story is he came as a teenager from Ecuador. In Ecuador, and he came in those times when it was bad times down in Central and South America. Those were the death squad times. Yeah, they were doing the 2 sides and 3 sides. In those times, you had right wing, left wing, and the middle, and all had death squads. And you were, whatever, somebody said something, they pulled you out of your house, you would never come back. So I don't know why a guy would come to our country as a teenage immigrant, escaping bad stuff, and then burn an American flag. You kind of get what I'm saying? Look, we don't have to agree with everything the country does. Here, I'm going to tell you this, and I didn't post it on Facebook because I don't know if I'll get banned. This stuff against James Comey, prosecuting a guy for a Instagram post, that's outrageous. That's crazy. Trump has said worse things about people that they should be harmed. Do you remember that first time he ran? He used to say beat him up at his rallies, beat him up. And now Trump is telling his, whatever they are, these prosecutors to go after Comey for an Instagram post. That's my view. I don't like what they did with throwing the reporters out of the Pentagon. And they threw them out. It was timed with the war, right? You can say, well, there's no leaks. Like, yeah, well, it's your fault if there's leaks. It's not the reporter's fault. If there's a leak in an organization, then it's your fault. It's not the reporter's fault. Think about that, right? If there's a leak in a government agency or in a military or on a CTA, anywhere it is, it's what? It's the agency's fault. It isn't the person who reports it. I'm a reporter. It's like when people blame me for homelessness. Oh, you didn't help him. Oh, you're doing this about crime. Oh, man, I'm a reporter, man. I'm videotaping what I see. And then you're a public street, like that sergeant told me. Remember the other day? She goes, oh, blah, blah, blah. You can't in my face or something. I said, you're on a street. You're on a street. And plus, you're a public servant on top of that. You're talking weird stuff. So, where I'm getting with this is this. That's about the Americanism, right? Are we teaching that anymore? Are we teaching the values of Americanism? Are we teaching that? I talked about that about 6 or 7 months ago. Has anybody written about Americanism? What it is to be an American? I'm not talking about I pledge allegiance to everything they do, no matter how bad it is. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm not dying on a hill for some stupid stuff. And I ain't gonna follow people that are silly, right? But are we teaching Americanism? Are we teaching those things, right? There you go. Look what Ms. Zedor just said. If you try to jump borders in North Korea, you'll be put in jail and possibly executed. Yeah, we grew up that way. We've seen these. Remember the Cold War? They used to shoot people in East Germany. I come from Czechoslovakia. There were the Russians were controlling. I told you the story. My mom said, I don't want to live in communism. So she told my dad, you need to get me out of here. So he complied. He liked my mom. He liked me as the kid. So he got out of the country when the communists were there. But yeah, when I used to travel back, because all my family's there, right? My aunts, my uncles, my grandpa, my grandma, they're both passed away, my grandma and grandpa. But I used to go there when I was a kid, right? Oh man, they had guards on the border with machine guns and tanks. Yeah, Ms. Zedor is right. You can't cross the border there. Nah, you ain't crossing no border in no Russia or no none of that stuff. Go try to cross the border in China. Didn't they just get some guys? I think there was an American that just got arrested. I think in China. I think he did. Well, I gotta look it up. But I think in China. 4:30 is the local news. And let's listen to local news.
News Traffic and Weather Station, News Radio.
Thanks for listening.
And WBBMNewsRadio.com.
It's 4:30. Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Fielding. Here are the top stories on News Radio WBBM. The Supreme Court strikes down Louisiana's congressional map, which includes 2 minority black districts. The family of a Loyola University student who was shot and killed last month demands accountability from elected officials. And former FBI Director James Comey appears in court after his indictment for allegedly threatening President Trump.
This is Nancy Hardy. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson credits his high school experiences for molding him as he was honored in Elgin.
And in business,
I'm Tom Busby at Bloomberg. Wall Street ending mostly lower, but oil prices surging higher. The Dow today down 280 points. The Nasdaq up 9. The S&P lower by 3.
51 degrees at 4:31. The news continues, sponsored by Blaine's Farm and Fleet. A divided Supreme Court struck down Louisiana's congressional map that includes 2 majority black districts. The justice upheld a lower court ruling that found that map makers illegally use race when drawing up new voting boundaries to comply with the Voting Rights Act. CBS's Jessica Levison explains the opposing view.
If you look at what the dissent is saying, the dissent would say that this is a big rollback.
They look like some drug addicts, don't they?
Of the Voting Rights Act.
White drug addicts? Yeah, those are white drug addicts, right? Those are white drug addicts, right?
Reacting to this decision, with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker calling it an abomination.
Yeah, those are white drug
called
addicts.
a crown jewel of democracy.
White drug addicts.
Told reporters on Chicago's south side that he didn't believe the ruling would affect how Illinois' political maps are drawn.
Everything that we have in Illinois now is constitutional, even under the new ruling. So I'm sure there will be people who try to attack it, but the reality is,
and the cops are right here, right?
The Supreme Court decision, I'm told that it validates the maps that are already in place.
A proposed state constitutional amendment would require minority populations to be taken into consideration. That is now before the state Senate. The family of a Loyola University student shot and killed in Rogers Park last month is demanding justice and accountability from elected officials.
Sheridan's death was not just a senseless tragedy.
Something's
was
going on here at the red line.
Speaking to reporters outside of a Cook County courtroom where 25-year-old Jose Medina pled not guilty to charges that include murder, attempted murder, and unlawful possession of a weapon in the March 19th shooting that killed Loyola freshman Sheridan Gorman.
Today is a step forward, but let's not pretend it's anything more than that. An arraignment is not justice. It's the beginning of a long process, and our family will be here every single step of the way until there is a full accountability for what was done to our daughter Sheridan.
Prosecutors have said Medina, a Venezuelan migrant bused to Chicago from Texas in 2022, was hiding in bushes near Toby Prince Beach when he opened fire at Gorman and her friends.
This is not about politics for us. This is about responsibility. There were laws already in place. There were mechanisms already in place, and somehow they were not enforced in a way to prevent this from happening.
Andy Dane, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Around the nation, former FBI Director James Comey made his first court appearance over his recent indictment for allegedly threatening President Trump. He's been charged with 2 counts, making a threat against the president and transmitting a threat across state lines. The charges stem from an online photo that shows seashells arranged in the sand to the form of the numbers 8647, which the indictment claims is political violence. Comey did not enter a plea. Instead, he was read his rights and left the courtroom. Democrats have confronted Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth for the first time since the Iran war started.
As the Pentagon revealed during a House hearing that the war has cost $25 billion, California's John Garamendi and other Democrats ripped it as a blunder with unclear goals.
You have been lying to the American public about this war from day one, and so has the president.
Hegseth fired back.
Who you cheering for here? Who you pulling for?
In a tense exchange with top panel Democrat Adam Smith, Hegseth insisted the U.S. obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities last year.
We had to start this war, you just said, 60 days ago, because the nuclear weapon was an imminent threat. Now you're saying that it was completely obliterated?
They had not given up their nuclear ambitions, and they had a conventional shield of thousands of...
So Operation Midnight Hammer accomplished nothing of substance. It left us at exactly the same place we were before.
Hegseth says lawmakers criticizing the war pose a big challenge to the military.
The biggest adversary we face at this point.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Jerome Powell says he plans to remain on the board of the Federal Reserve after his term as chair ends next month. He cited the recent legal legal actions taken by the Trump administration against the Fed as his reason to stay. Today, the Fed also left its benchmark interest rate unchanged for the third straight meeting. At the same time, Kevin Warsh is one step closer to replacing Powell after the Senate Banking Committee approved his nomination. Indiana's governor has signaled a growing willingness to legalize marijuana.
Governor Mike Braun notes that Indiana is surrounded by states with some form of legal marijuana, recreational and medicinal, in Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio, just medicinal in Kentucky, and Indiana residents are crossing borders spending a lot of money. He said marijuana laws have evolved over time. Stick your head in the sand, he said, you're generally going to make the wrong decision.
The main question is, you're going to need to ask the legislators and the leaders of those two chambers to see what they're thinking, because I'm clear in terms of where I'm at.
Research suggests that Indiana residents spend up to $1.8 billion a year buying marijuana in border states, and law enforcement costs are $10 to $20 million. Mike Krauser, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
During wind donations, the more you buy, the more you save.
I like that governor. That's SubX.News. If you're listening, SubX.News on the spot reporting. We're in downtown Chicago. We're heading into the Loop. The Loop is always surrounded by the trains, right? 4:36 p.m. April, 29th today, isn't it? 2026. The other day, he was talking about AI, and he said the same thing. Oh, man, there's cops up there. We gotta have to go see what they're doing. I gotta put the radio on, right?
Frequency mode.
And he said, don't fall behind in AI. And now what did he say? Don't fall behind in weed. You know, again, you do what you want to do, but it's clear that weed, you know, you can call it bad or good. It's a gateway drug, that's for sure. And it does have effects on you psychologically. Weed is a psychotropic. Everybody knows that, right? It's not alcohol. It alters your mind. Marijuana alters your mind. That's what it does. Everybody should understand that. It's not a harmless drug. It's not a harmless drug. But it's not, I say weed is almost safer than alcohol. That's my view on it. That's my view, my personal view. So the reason I wanted to say this is that governor says, look, we need to look at certain things and think about it and maybe change our stuff. That doesn't mean he agrees with it, but he says we have to figure out what works, right? And I like that kind of thinking as a governor, right? Oh, there's something going on here.
You see a relatively low gas price these days? Give us a call 312-409-4277.
There's something going on. Let's go.
438.
SubX.News, there's something going on downtown here. We just seen that other cop up there. I'm trying to listen to the radio calls and so they both went down there, right? See that there? But you can't turn down that road there. Maybe I go through the alley here, right? And go up. What's this? Hey, what are you doing, bro? Stop. Well, that dude's, he's messed up, man. What is he doing? He's a gangbanger. He's got the Jordan on it. Right? He's probably a Venezuelan, right? That's the signal who they are, right? 23. See that guy right there? He's probably in a gang. Alright, they just both turned here and they went the opposite direction, right? So something's going on this way. Let's go down this way and check it out. Man, he's messed up, that guy, right? 4:39 p.m. Downtown is empty.
And it spots eastbound from the Ford decline and before Grant over.
Yeah, they're in back of us now. There's another one behind us. Let's see if he turns there. There's something going on.
In the two left lanes.
There's something going on there, right?
Next report, 448 News Radio.
This squad is coming up behind us. I'm trying to listen to the citywide one. Why isn't it?
Frequency mode.
And something's going on over here. All right, let's get on. I'll have to. All right, let's get over here. There's something going on over here. There's a lot of squads down there. It might just be a theft case, right? But they were beating somebody up the other day, I remember. All right, so we're not getting through now. Something's going on over here. I'm trying to get... So they're going down Wabash. We just missed it then, right? And let's get to the... I don't know, the live radio ain't working. It's strange. So let's get on the rebroadcast and see if we hear something there, right? All right, come on, my brother. Go, 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 go. You're all right. Yeah, don't look at me. You're okay, man. Don't worry about it. All right, let's see if we hear something here.
7391 Charlie. 7391 Charlie.
Something's going on right over here, right?
I think you're known for a stop at the Roosevelt Green Line.
And you want a street stop, or do you want a check? Email check.
Let's qualify about this turn here.
So they went here, maybe they're on where they sell, I think this is Adams here. They sell a lot of drugs here. They jumped somebody here the other day.
Is 08718. 08718.
They jumped a kid for a sweater over here.
7386 Charlie.
Clark Alexis.
08724. 08724.
73874.
73874.
Can I get a platform shot? Stand at the boulevard.
095. Alright, blue line at Addison. Okay, that is 08744. 08744.
386 Adam. 7383 boys.
Where'd they go, huh?
73838.
Can I get number 679, send the red line lower?
Strange, huh?
09044. 09044.
7386.
Maybe they're in the alleys?
7386 boy.
Can I get one for church and red light, please? 7383 Frank. 7384.
Unison 3 and on the citywide. Assaulting progress at 6661 South on State. It's a female green hoodie and shorts that's threatening the clerk to put her hands on.
7391 David.
7391 David.
Can I get a street stop at Roosevelt Red, please?
09125. 09125.
The cops disappeared.
216.
It must be in an alley.
3216.
Yes, well, show me here, man, to knock out some e-learning.
Oh, that sounds like a blast.
It's always a blast.
09134. 09134.
Let's see the alleys here, right?
7388 boys.
7388 boys.
Premise check, Illinois Medical District Blue.
So the units of one in the citywide, a robbery just occurred 225 South Canal. The caller said he was robbed of his car. Two male blacks pulled a gun on him and took his Cadillac, black in color, straight on Canal. Frank Queen 82626. Nothing further is unfortunately clear.
225 South Canal. They just stole his Cadillac.
And again, copy that 225 South Canal. Looks like at least robbery. I don't see a weapon. Female blacks pulled a... Oh, no, they did. So it's an armed carjack. Female blacks pulled a gun on. Took the Cadillac CTX. Black and color.
Armed carjacking, Cadillac CTX.
7388 7388 boys.
7388 boys.
Premise check, Illinois Medical District Blue.
So the units of one in the citywide, a robbery just occurred 225 South Canal. The caller said he was robbed of his car.
7388.
So the units of one in the citywide, a robbery just occurred 225 South Canal. The caller said he was robbed of his car. Two male blacks pulled a gun on him and took his Cadillac, black in color, straight on Canal, Franklin 82626. Nothing further than for clear.
Cops are in front of us.
09150, 09150. And again, copy that is 225 South Gilmel. User looks like at least robbery. I don't see a weapon. Female black full of, oh, no, they did. So it's an armed carjack. Female black full of gun on, took the Cadillac CTX, black in color. Continued straight on Canal, got a plate of Franklin 82626.
7388 Adam.
7388 Adam.
The cops are right in front of us.
Pulaski.
09164, 09164.
See the cops right there?
09164, 09164.
4719.
4719.
You have a number for Homeland Security check at Trump Tower?
That is 09175, 09175.
The cops are right in front of us. See that there?
Marine 3, Citywide 1.
Marine 3.
Can I get a harbor check of Monroe, please?
Monroe Harbor, and for that is 09193, 09193.
They're looking for somebody, it looks like. See that there?
You're welcome. Now, are you trying to come in?
7383 Charlie, can we?
7383 Charlie.
Numbers for the nice red light.
This is where they sell drugs.
09203, 09203.
Read the number again, sorry.
This is where they were, right here, right?
09203.
They were inside here. They were inside the parking garage right there. See that there?
7387 platform 6, blue line at Gatsby.
09231, 09231.
386 Charlie.
7386 Charlie.
Number for Clark and Lake, please.
So the cops are here and they're in that parking garage there. Right? Right. Parking garage there, right?
Howard, mezzanine red.
Yeah, they're in that parking garage right there, right? Police presence in that parking garage right there. See that?
095.
One more time.
09254.
7386 David.
And there was a bunch of them over here, so they must have had a fight in there or something. Maybe they had carjacking in there. I don't hear nothing on the radio. And Adams, they do a lot of drug dealing over here.
Marine 3.
I'm looking in my mirror here.
We have a Homeland Security check of Turkey location, please. 09290. Thank you.
User 6 in Citywide, the battery in progress, 8031 South and 10. The adult son and daughter of male black, female black having a bad argument, now they're pushing each other. No one seen that further on it.
7383 David.
7383 David.
That squad's leaving. They're looking for somebody is what they're doing.
09303, 09303.
7353.
7353.
Take the number for Howard Red Line, turn south.
09316, 09316.
More time, flash.
09316. Unit 19, anyway.
386 boy.
Sounds right.
Can I get one for check to the red line, please?
09318, 09318.
User 4 Citywide,
You got a bunch of them right there. See that?
10055 South Creative. And we'll leave the burglar alarm now. He says he's trying to break in a neighbor's garage. That's for the police.
4387 Alex. 4387 Alex.
Just in the garage.
Can you give me a number for a patient at Open Square here? Line. Sure, take a bet. 09343 093.
There's a big police presence right there, right? But we don't hear none on the radio, right? They're leaving, right? There they go. We found where it was. Son having that parking garage, right? What is that? 17 East Adams, right? We'll have to look for the radio call, but we didn't hear it, right? We went all the way back to 4:30, right? Heavy police presence over here at 17 East Adams. A bunch of squads came in hot. A whole bunch of foot patrols out here. Don't know what happened, but I know they sell a lot of drugs over here on Adams. About 4:35 p.m. is when I started seeing the squads coming over here. April 29th, 2026. The cops are in back of me, so we go around the block and see what they're doing, right? They're looking for somebody. They're looking for something happened. They're looking for somebody here. That's for sure. We're going to go around the block, all right? And we're up to date on our radio calls. I think they sell a lot of drugs here.
7-8-3-1. It's going to be bus number 8558. Okay.
Heavy police presence over here at 17 East Adams at the parking garage. Bunch of squads came in hot. Don't know what happened, but I know they sell a lot of drugs on this strip right here. Started about 4:35 p.m., April 29, 2026. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people out here in downtown. Didn't take anybody into custody. Don't know what happened.
Zero 9406. 09406.
Oh, there's a lot of bad guys walking around. I'll tell you that. I'm going to close my window. Yeah, there's a lot of bad guys around here. There's something going on. That's for sure. Some bad guys walking around. I know that. Oh, yeah, there's some shit. There's something going on. Let's go around the block and see what we see, right? I don't hear nothing on the radio. Something's going on with my radio. The live radio is something's going on with it. It's not.
Frequency mode.
Let's see. Let me double check if I got it on the right frequency. Because I have my ham radio, right? What is Chicago Police Department citywide one frequency?
Chicago Police Department citywide one frequency is 460.125 megahertz, and it's a main radio channel. It's used for citywide specialized law enforcement, including SWAT, K-9, and other units.
And they usually have the downtown district under that one. So all I'll have to do, this is probably, I have to go to the first district, which this is. And then I'll have to check backwards map the time because those are encrypted. 30-minute delays. We'll go up and then we'll come down Wabash. We'll go all the way up to maybe we'll go all the way up to Upper Wacker, right?
94 boys, can we get a red line check at Roosevelt?
09440. 09440.
Those are illegal now, according to Junulius, right?
73867.
Get open for red line.
It's supposed to have a plate.
10-4-09443. 09443.
And then also connect for another number for 79 Upper.
Yes, your disturbance was 093, 09382, and then platform check 09457, 09457. Do you want me to get 5 call the disturbance?
That's not 5 call. Thank you.
So we'll go up and then we'll go down Wabash, see if there's something going on Wabash, right?
And for that is 09460, 094.
It's sad. It's 4:58 p.m. and it's completely empty downtown. Look at this. You got crime, drugs. That's not how you run a city, and you need to crack down, and that's it. It's unsustainable, this kind of level of dysfunction.
Chicago Skyway Radio, South Pass, 1700 hours on the 29th of April, 2026. Chicago Skyway Radio, please.
It's 5 o'clock, so we'll listen to the news now.
0894700, 09470. 73867. Chicago Point to Point Radio council time is 1700 hours on the 29th of April, 2026. Chicago Point to Point Radio is there.
CBS's Allison Key. The Supreme Court's decision weakens a key section of the Voting Rights Act, which protects against discrimination in redistricting. CBS News legal analyst Jessica Levinson.
Supreme Court, once again, a majority has said, don't use race.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Louisiana Republican, supports the court's ruling. Johnson says we'll see if lawmakers there go in and draw new maps before the state's primary in 2 weeks. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
President Trump has spoken with Russian President Putin about the wars in Ukraine and Iran. CBS's Linda Kenyon reports.
The president says it was a very good conversation with his Russian counterpart. The two spoke about Ukraine and Iran, with Trump saying Putin offered to play a role in the Iran war.
He told me he'd like to be involved with the enrichment if he can help us get it. I said, I'd much rather have you be involved with ending the war with Ukraine.
The president says he and Putin also spoke about Iran's nuclear capabilities, saying they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. He added Putin doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon either. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is defending the Pentagon's record budget request on Capitol Hill. He has told the House Armed Services Committee the record $1.5 trillion budget addresses the urgency of the moment.
This budget also includes a historic troop pay increase, 7% for lower enlisted, and the budget eliminates all poor or failing barracks.
The House has given approval to a 3-year extension of a U.S. surveillance program. CBS's Cammie McCormick with more.
The program was set to expire on Friday. In approving its extension, new oversight measures were added, including a monthly civil liberties review. But lawmakers stopped short of adding a requirement for warrants. Speaker Mike Johnson said 2/3 of the president's daily national security briefing comes from intelligence collected by the statute, and it couldn't go dark. But it faces an uncertain future in the Senate.
The Federal Reserve is signaling it could cut rates in the coming months, but is keeping things steady for now. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
In a statement, the Fed noted that while inflation is elevated because of the increase in global energy prices due to the war in the Middle East, prices overall have not accelerated.
Also, Fed Chair Jerome Powell plans to remain a board governor after his term as chair ends next month, citing legal actions by the Trump administration. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS 1. This is a slam dunk.
So cute. Singing for me today.
So there you go. You know, you got a guy like Pete Hegseth who says, "Oh yeah, you questioned me and you're the enemy." Like, yeah, that's some bull. They really are bad on that First Amendment stuff. Trump is. He likes doing whatever he wants to do, but then when someone exerts their First Amendment right, they don't like it. It's kind of like a kid game, man, with that guy. Whatever.
12 miles an hour. Chilly tonight. Lows in the 30s. The AccuWeather 5-day forecast coming up at 5:15. Our top story at 5, the Venezuelan migrant charged with shooting and killing a Loyola University student last month made his first in-person court appearance today. Jose Medina pled not guilty to all charges. He had been delayed when he was treated for tuberculosis following the court appearance. Sheridan Gordon's father, Thomas, said he wanted to make sure this does not happen to another family.
This is not about politics for us. This is about responsibility. There were laws already in place. There were mechanisms already in place. And somehow they were not forced in a way to prevent this from happening.
Medina was reportedly picked up at the southern border in 2023 before being bused to Chicago by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. When he was arrested in connection to the shooting in Rogers Park, Medina had an active warrant for a retail theft charge. Medina will remain in custody as the case proceeds at a later date. Well, in addition to Sheridan Gordon's death, the fatal shooting of Chicago police officer John Bartholomew has brought new attention to the state's bail reform law. Republicans in Springfield say last weekend's shooting is a sign that the so-called Safety Act needs to change. charge. However, Governor Pritzker says the judge in the suspect's past cases bears most of the responsibility.
It's a tragedy what's happened.
And the governor says it could have been avoided if the Cook County judge hearing previous cases against the suspect in Officer Bartholomew's death had paid attention to details of his criminal history and not let him out on electronic monitoring.
The judge should have made the decision to keep that person in jail.
But State Senate Republican leader John Curran joined other GOP lawmakers in Springfield to introduce a proposed change to the law, spelling out that anyone who commits a felony while wearing an ankle monitor must be held behind bars until both cases are closed.
Letting violent offenders out over and over again to commit more violent crimes isn't creating less prisoners. It's creating more victims.
The governor told reporters he has not seen the details of the Republicans' proposal, but repeated that the law as written allows judges to hold potentially violent suspects.
The judge who had the ability to keep the person in jail didn't.
Jeff Buckles, News Radio 105.9. WBBM.
Arrest made and formal charges filed in a 2024 shooting that critically injured a teenage boy.
Chicago police say the 15-year-old was standing in a parking lot outside of Gately Stadium in Pullman the afternoon of August 24th. He was confronted by someone in a white car. Passenger then allegedly shot the teen, who was hospitalized in critical condition with a gunshot wound to the abdomen. On Monday, officers arrested 31-year-old Darnisha Jones, near 111th and Langley. She's now charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and battery causing great bodily harm. Andy Dane, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Federal prosecutors are dismissing the controversial conspiracy charge in the so-called Broadview 6 case. It stems from an incident at an ICE facility last year.
Assistant U.S. Attorney William Hogan says prosecutors plan to file a new charging document focused on the remaining misdemeanor counts against 4 Broadview 6 ICE protesters who still face charges, one of them being former congressional candidate Kat Abu-Ghazaleh. They're accused of joining a group outside the ICE facility in Broadview on September 26th, then pushing and scratching an agent's vehicle. It was a surprise decision for attorneys in one of the highest profile cases to emerge from Operation Midway Blitz. Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
In Indiana, federal agents are seen conducting multiple investigations at homes and businesses.
The Paragon restaurant in Hobart and Gino's Steakhouse in Merrillville were among locations that were raided. Also, the Schererville residence of an owner, James Geradimos, according to the Times of Northwest Indiana. Agents with the FBI and IRS were observed removing documents, among other things. A statement from the FBI says this is an FBI-led multi-agency operation with court-authorized law enforcement activity occurring at multiple locations. Geradimos served time in prison about 10 years ago for dealing in explosive materials. Mike Krauser, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
It's 5:08. Time to turn to traffic and weather together on the 8s to the roads. First to Neil Fiorito.
A lot of bad delays on the expressways, Lisa. Really high travel times pretty much across the board, except for the outbound Edens. You're wide open there to Lake Cook Road. Coming inbound, quite the opposite. Brake lights.
There's something going on over there.
To the junction, you're 52 minutes to drive in.
We're going to go up
on
this
Kennedy, about an hour 3 from O'Hare to downtown. 28 off the junction. Kennedy out 35 to Montrose. You will save a couple of minutes in the express lanes. A 53-minute drive to O'Hare. On the Eisenhower inbound, you're an hour 13 minutes from I-90 into downtown. To drive in from Manheim, 42. The turnaround trip is 48 to Manheim, an hour 10 to head out towards Schaumburg and the James.
We'll see if they're dealing drugs over here at the
Cicero Avenue.
Grand Avenue station.
15 to 355. A little under an hour coming in from the Veterans Tollway to the lakefront. South side, the Ryan 45 out, 30 minutes in. I-57, about 3 minutes of delay either way, 18 minutes to and from I-80. Bishop Ford outbound 25, just 15 inbound. Usaba Lakeshore Drive on the brakes northbound, Soldier Field to Chicago Avenue. Heavy southbound past north to Chicago into Grant Park, and between 47th and Hayes Drive, traffic is heavy. Tollways to Tri-State southbound, heavy Irving to Ogden from the 83rd Street toll to 95th and I-80 to Halstead. A delay northbound on the Tri-State between Cermak and 290. The Jane Addams with some backups westbound from the Tri-State to Elmhurst Road. The Reagan westbound, heavy spots from 355 to 59. Eastbound slow spots between Naperville Road and 355 and a heavy delay from Midwest onto the Tri-State Tollway northbound ramp. The Veterans Veterans Tollway southbound slow spots from 290 to North Avenue and Butterfield down to 63rd. On Route 53, roadwork delays going strong on either side through Rolling Meadows. I-80 has some long-term roadwork delays too through Joliet, really on either side getting near the Des Plaines River Bridge. 8094 backups and spots on either side through Northwest Indiana between I-65.
The drug addict.
Bishop Ford.
That guy's a drug addict.
Highway backing up eastbound before Stony Island to the Skyway toll. Long-term construction there in the two left lanes. From the Metro Traffic Center, next report, 518. News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
All right, Neil, thank you. Partly cloudy and chilly tonight, overnight, a low of 39. Tomorrow, clouds and sun, maybe an afternoon shower with a high of 53, but more like 50. Right now, 47 chilly degrees at O'Hare, 45 Waukegan. We have 47 in Wheeling. It's 5:10.
You probably wish your home had more space, but making that happen can be a real challenge and a little scary. Until now.
Go do a little videoing, right?
Designers, architects, and construction experts make it easy to uncover the hidden possibilities in your home. It all starts with a conversation. Whether that involves expanding or reconfiguring your current space, Normandy will
You're gonna take a little walk.
We'll be with you every step of the way to make every aspect of your project run smoothly. Normandy handles it all, from design through construction. And you'll have the peace of mind that you get from a fixed price contract, so you'll know how much your project will cost before you sign on the dotted line. Visit normandyremodeling.com to set up a time to talk about your home addition or major renovation and open a whole new world of possibilities. That's normandyremodeling.com.
Let's go.
It is 5:11. The Chicago suburb looking for artists to help tell its story in a big way.
Xavier is calling on Illinois artists to design a large-scale mural on the exterior of City Hall, part of a nationwide celebration marking America's 250th anniversary. Now, the project is funded through the Illinois Arts Council, and a selected artist will create a permanent outdoor mural on the west-facing wall of City Hall overlooking the Depot Pond and Flag Day Monument. The theme, America at 250, a living community story, is connected.
Let me show you this here. What is it? It's 4. Let's see, what time is it? I think it's 4:11 or 4:12. 5:11, right? I think it is. Let me show you guys something. That's why I want to show you guys something. 5:12
would be something really
5:12 p.m. Right? Five 12 p.m. across north side of the river. This is River North, they call it. Let me show you this place, right? This is the Kinsey area, right? Kinseyan State. If you wanted a party, this is where you came to party, right? Let me just show you what has happened in this area, right? Take a look at this. It'll be a quick video. There's one bar here, right? Still open. Or liquor store. But you see this here? Since I've been coming to downtown the last 3 years, this was open and it's now shut down. See that there? Look. See that there? He said, yeah, it's just a convenience store. There ain't nothing here. That was where you went after the bars. You got your cigarettes or your booze. Plus, the 7-Eleven closed here. See that there? Why? Because there's a lot of bad crimes that happen here. They just killed a security guard here. Have you ever heard of what happened with that guy? Remember they pushed him down the stairs here? That happened right down the street. Never heard of follow-up. There's a guy here. He got shot by a cop because he stabbed somebody over there. Right over here. Right. So that's the problem in our city, right? We have crime happening. See, there's a available space over there. You can't sustain a city like this. Boarded up. Loss of businesses and crime. That's not how you can make money, go forward, and like those politicians keep saying, we need revenue. Well, there's no revenue here. You see that there? Look, it's all completely shut down. There's a couple of places that are still open here. There's a couple places shut down. In a place like this, that's high rent, you need to have all these places full. I'll tell you one of the main things that's closed down. The radio room. And people come up with excuses of why they close and this and this. Listen, COVID has been over with for a long time. If you keep using COVID as an excuse, that's what it is. It's an excuse. It always has been. There you go. See all those businesses closed? SubX.News on the spot report. I'm going to show you one last thing over here. Hey, it's right here. It's in the middle of everything. Closed. There was a guy that used to sleep here right in these doorways. And this is what they do now in downtown. They put plywood so you can't sleep in those areas. They did that over on Lake Street, right? By the Garvey Courts area there. See that? This whole corner is empty. There you go. Indian State, closed. SubX.News on the spot report. Ain't no money coming in here, is there? 5:12 p.m. So there. I wanted to show you guys that it's not in one neighborhood. It's not in one section of the city. It's everywhere. Right? It's everywhere. There's a lot of businesses around here that are closed. I've been highlighting them for years now. I should get me a, I think I got food at home. But I could use a nice slice of pizza. Let me put my other phone here. I might get me a slice of pizza real quick. Don't tell my wife though, all right? We're gonna go like that. I'm hungry. Kinsey and State, Kinsey and Hubbard, wiped out. 5:12 p.m. April 29, 2026. Should I go get a slice of pizza? I don't know. I know I got some food at home. If I get a slice of pizza, then I can keep moving. So I'm a little bit hungry. I was going to cut home early today because I got my movie day. And I think I got dinner at home. Yeah, I do have dinner at home. I better not get something to eat. If I get something to eat, my wife will see the video and I'll get killed. I can make an excuse, but I shouldn't do that. I don't want to get in trouble by her, right? So we're just going to keep moving. How about that? Let's start the car and keep moving, right? So you just seen that, right? Anybody who knows about this area, that's always been busy here, right? But you see.
So a lot to see on the Dan Ryan on the outbound side at 51st in the local lanes. It sounds like crews are just getting to the crazy scene. Cicely called in. We appreciate the call. The WBBM Mercedes-Benz involvement of State's traffic tip line 855.
51st and Dan Ryan. Should we go down there or what?
The outbound side at 51st. We have a crash and some fighting going on. 2 left lanes blocked.
Let's go.
Lanes for right now, if you can, on the
crash and a fight.
It'll probably get worse before it gets better on the outbound side. You're about 45 out, again, about 30 minutes in from the merge into downtown. Most of the expressways really packed in still. DuSable Lakeshore Drive has a lot of traffic through the Gold Coast and Grand Park. You're backed up southbound in the Hyde Park and getting toward Jackson Park as well. Across the tollways, the biggest delay on the tri-state southbound.
So a fight and a crash, 51st and Dan Ryan, right? Let's go.
set up between those 2 points. That's why you're backed up on Route 53 in the northwest suburbs. Ongoing roadwork through Palatine and Rolling Meadows. 80 in the southwest burbs on the breaks westbound before breaks to Larkin and near I-55. Delays eastbound Larkin to Richards and LaGrange Road to I-57. Delays on 8094 in northwest Indiana in spots roughly between the Ford and I-65. And a pretty big backup on the Chicago Skyway. If you're eastbound before Stony Island to before the Skyway toll plaza, you have some work there.
Well, they say 51st and Dan Ryan, a crash and a fight on the highway, right? Let's go. Let's head on out. 39 degrees. Did you hear that, Ms. Isidore? 39. Oh, my gosh. It's freezing again. I put away all my jackets already.
520. Our top story this hour, the Supreme Court strikes down on Louisiana's congressional map. It's a decision that could lead other states to eliminate Black and Latino districts that tend to favor Democrats. Much more on the story coming up at 5:31. More than 200
A crash and a fight on Dan Ryan Expressway by 51st Street, shutting down traffic.
contract with higher wages and staffing guarantees. According to their union, the zoo's last, best, and final offer was rejected by its members, who also voted to authorize a strike because the current agreement expires at 11:59 p.m. Friday. In response, a zoo spokesperson issued a statement saying its offer included a competitive 14.5% wage increase over 4 years, 6 additional full-time positions, as well as continued health care. The statement also says negotiations will continue Friday morning. Mai Martinez, News Radio 105.9 WBBM. 521.
Nutrition labels can be a valuable tool in knowing what's in your food. However, it can't explain how much of it your body will actually use. I'm Dr. Kavya Puluru from Loyola Medicine with Healthy Eating. Nutritional bioavailability refers to how efficiently nutrients are absorbed and utilized. For example, iron from animal sources is absorbed more easily than iron from plants. And fat-soluble vitamins, like vitamin D, require dietary fat for proper absorption. Food preparation also matters. Cooking can increase bioavailability for some nutrients, such as lycopene in tomatoes, while reducing others. Digestive health plays a role as well. Conditions like gut inflammation or low stomach acid can limit nutrient uptake. Focusing solely on nutrient numbers overlooks these factors. For more information, go to loyolamedicine.org/blog. I'm Dr. Kavya Puluru for News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
At Malvern Law, we know that when nursing home and assisted living facilities become careless, someone has to read between the lines. Bed sores, broken bones, medication errors, unexplained deaths. The signs are there, but nursing homes or assisted living facilities hope you won't find them. We've spent over 30 years making facilities answer for every single one. The good news, justice isn't just...
It's some radio call, see what we're missing. There's a fight. That's what we're going to go see. It'll probably be cleared up by the time we get there. But that's towards where I live. So I live by 39th Street. So that's towards my area. So we'll go down there.
Citywide Battery Apartment, 1650 West Adams, Apartment 210, 1650 West Adams, Apartment 210. Rita is calling. Intoxicated husband Ricardo is attacking her. Offenders wearing blue clothes, no weapons, no drugs, nothing further than home 3 district. 12 is clear. 4712. All right, can you hold on to you? All right, so it's you 23, 35, and 37? My name. 7383, David. Zero 9519. 09519. 7333. I had a couple of you come in. Maybe 7383 was coming in, or 7333. 7333. 7333, go ahead. You got a number for canine training, rubber at Pershing and iron. Myself, 73, 23, 35, and 37. All right, so it's you, 23, 35, and 37? My name. is 09530. 09530. For unit this Wall City Wagon is on in progress 760 North Milwaukee, 760 North Milwaukee at Dago's Pizza Restaurant. Ramon is calling. Mailbag starting him in the rear with a screwdriver for booting his black Chrysler wearing black clothing. Colin will be waiting inside of a tan Chevy Trailblazer. Nothing further than 3 District Coast Click.
Lincoln's ready to blow up. Somebody hear you.
Unit trying to come in.
Traveler 69 for Charlie.
So you booted his car and threatened him with a screwdriver. Man, that's in a pizza joint. Yeah, there you go. Now that's a good story there. I tagged that one. I'll have to write that one up later. Oh man, that's crazy.
7383.
I got a number for bus number 8738 going eastbound Roseville from Pulaski.
There's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of traffic jams here. We're gonna try to cut through the cities. What we're gonna try to do. It's logger jamming everywhere.
09584. 09584.
Remember, see the logger jam over there? They got the road blocked. Always look at the surface parking. Look at surface parking.
Was Ogden, 2315 was Ogden. Security's calling. Teenager, female, black, blonde hair, blue collared shirt, gray sweater, black pants, refusing to leave. She had her food. Rules are no students inside, no weapons, nothing further. Zone 3 District Code.
2130 Ogden.
383 Charlie.
Numbers for speaking in the run.
09607. Alrighty, let's see. We're also getting traffic control 4900 South Lakeshore Drive southbound. Someone's car died out. White 2018 Volkswagen Charger called AAA and there's a tow truck around. 3230, 3240, you guys just want me to code that?
3269.
Alright, thank you, sir.
4724.
4724.
Clear right up positive.
10-4, heavy clear.
3864.
7364.
What, give me a VIN number for lunch at Lake and Randolph?
09623. 09623.
7394 Charlie.
7394 Charlie.
That's 4 Charlie. Can I have the numbers for Roseville Red, please?
09634. 09634.
7394 boy.
7394 boy. 7394 boy. Go ahead.
That's empty. That's empty.
09657. 09657. 7383 David.
Number 140. Eastbound 79 from Peoria. Can I have that number?
Alright, one sec. That is 09676. 09676. 7388 boy.
I'm taking a train ride from Medical District Racine to Clinton.
09683. 09683.
7385 David. 7386 David.
7386.
David, can I get a red number for the lobby, Chicago and a red line?
Sure. Let's see. 09698. 09698. You guys good over there?
You broke up. The signal's real bad. Can you give me that number?
09698. 09698. And are you guys good? Oh, scream if you're not.
24, just going to City Line 1.
2461.
466.
You're breaking up.
2422. Can we go corner K9?
Let's see. It looks like we have you on a call at 1369 West SD.
Sorry, phone is breaking up. What do you think?
We have you on a check the well.
5:30, assistant of news. The 5:30 always has more local stuff.
Chicago's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 1059 and WPBNNewsRadio.com.
5:30. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lisa Fielding. Here are the top stories on News Radio WVBM. The Supreme Court finds Louisiana lawmakers illegally used race in drawing a congressional district.
I'm political editor Jeff Buckles with The View from Illinois and Chicago about the U.S. Supreme Court's decision aimed at the Voting Rights Act.
And the man accused of killing a Loyola University student last month pleads not guilty in court. Plus,
this is Andy Dane. It's now facing charges as Evanston police vowed to crack down on violent crime.
And in business,
I'm Tom Busby at Bloomberg. Wall Street ending mostly lower, but oil prices surging higher. The Dow today down 280 points. The Nasdaq up 9. The S&P lower by 3.
looks like we'll have partly cloudy and chilly conditions overnight, a low of 39, a high tomorrow around 50 to 55, cooler lakefront, 47 degrees now at 5:31. The Supreme Court struck down Louisiana's congressional map in a 6-3 decision today. Some lawmakers worry it could open the door for Republican-led states to eliminate Black and Latino electoral districts that tend to favor Democrats. CBS's Natalie Brand has more on what could happen ahead of the midterms.
The question is, will there be any additional challenges, legal challenges filed, before this midterm cycle? Analysts we've been hearing from say, it might be too late, but certainly beyond this midterm cycle, a lot of districts are now going to be under the microscope.
White House praised the verdict as a complete and total victory for voters. Well, closer to home, Illinois' top elected leaders are talking today about the Supreme Court ruling, which appears to weaken parts of the Voting Rights Act. WBBM political editor Jeff Buckles brings us more local reaction.
Governor J.B. Pritzker calls the 6-3 ruling by the justices an abomination.
It is an attack on a crown jewel of our democracy.
And the governor told reporters after an appearance at Olive Harvey College in Pullman that the decision is an attack on Black and brown people. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson reflected on his discussions with the late Reverend Jesse Jackson about the passage of the Voting Rights Act and other civil rights legislation in the 1960s.
As much work as it took to secure those rights, they recognized that there were some limitations there. And now here we are 60 years later, where the undermining of those efforts are in full effect.
The governor says the ruling does not affect the state's political maps, but a proposed amendment to the Illinois Constitution would spell out the need to preserve minority representation in future political maps. That would need to be approved by the Senate before this weekend in order to get on the fall ballot. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 1059, WBBM.
The Venezuelan migrant charged with shooting and killing Loyola University student Sheridan Gordon last month made his first in-person court appearance today. Jose Medina pled not guilty to all the charges. After the appearance, the victim's father, Thomas Gordon, says they want real, meaningful change that puts public safety over politics.
This is not a policy debate. This is a failure. And when leaders respond to tragedies like this with talking points instead of action, they choose ideology instead of enforcement, over accountability, over public safety. That is not just frustrating, it's unacceptable.
The Department of Homeland Security says Medina entered the country illegally in 2023 and was arrested for shoplifting in Chicago that year. Turns out his lawyers say he was bussed here by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Medina will remain in custody as the case proceeds. Evanston police say they are continuing to crack down on violent crime there.
Officers were called to the 1100 block of McDaniel Avenue Saturday night following reports of suspicious activity. Several people wearing hoodies and face masks standing near parked cars outside of a vacant property in a possible drug deal. Evanston police say one vehicle had a strong odor of marijuana, and a search turned up several drugs as well as 2 loaded firearms. 20-year-old Mo Kyaw now charged with armed violence, unlawful possession of a weapon, and drug offenses, while 20-year-old Jaden Herrera and 18-year-old Adam Dupulchin face drug charges as well. All 3 are from Chicago. A 17-year-old also charged with gun offenses. Evanston police say they'll continue rolling out what they call targeted violence suppression operations in light of several recent shooting incidents. and Day News Radio 105.9 WBBF.
4 days after a heavily armed man allegedly tried to assassinate the president, the administration today unveiled a package of proposed gun regulations to further protect Second Amendment rights. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche explains the goals.
We're repealing rules that went beyond what the law allows. We are cutting unnecessary red tape, and we are replacing confusion with clear, straightforward language so that everyday Americans don't need a law degree just to understand their rights.
The Justice Department and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms conducted a regulatory review after President Trump signed an executive order to eliminate amendment rights. Former FBI Director James Comey made his first court appearance after his indictment a day earlier for allegedly making threats against the president. He's facing 2 charges, willfully making a threat against the president and making said threat across state lines. It's over a social media post that depicts seashells arranged in the sand to form the numbers 8647, which the indictment claims is political violence. Comey did not enter a plea. Instead, he was read his rights and left the courtroom. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell says he has no choice but to remain as a Fed governor after his term of chair expires in May.
Jerome Powell said he long planned on retiring, but he has no choice but to remain as a Fed governor for an undetermined amount of time, following the Justice Department's legal action against Powell over the Fed's building renovations. Powell says he expects a standard Fed chair transition and that he congratulated Kevin Warsh after President Trump's nominee received approval from the Senate Banking Committee with a full Senate vote on his confirmation in May.
At CBS's Jason Brooks, the Fed maintains its pause on interest rates as well today, citing elevated inflation due in part to surging energy prices. Speaking of energy, we're going to give you some gas prices coming up and a look at your roads and your weather.
At Grandview Homes, we know that selling a home can feel like a daunting journey. But our dedicated
799 Creekview Court in Portage, Indiana, 46368. 5799 Creekview Court, Portage, Indiana, 46368.
Tonight, just the street name. I wasn't able to copy.
Taking Victor Ida, Review William, or Charles Calling as well. Platform in the bathroom on train car 1373. The caller does not want to like the key to check the area for mail, so he did not need contaminated issues to the next train.
What were the numbers on 7125?
7476 from Gresham, non-scale.
Oh, that's way better.
And then on the G alert, correct? Negative. Our complaints with 10-4. Oh, if you can call them back and try and get their info, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Phone number for the conductor.
Something going on that train. I don't know if it's a Metro train or CTA. Metro train, somebody's doing, I think they said he was doing bathroom on the train.
C2 removal.
That's what it sounded like. Metro train, somebody was relieving themselves on the train.
Just can you send the for locations for the system?
That's what it sounded like there. 27 over there. That's fire department there. We're listening to a different channel right now. It's got all this stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. What was your report?
Train 2235, train 2235 is reporting that in a car, there's a passenger that has a knife. There's no description of the subject. They're just advising you to all stay on the train. The train master is requesting for speed to remain on scene.
Train 225, person with a knife.
10211.
211 Prairie for trouble breathing.
All right. 33 West 11.
ISCAS. Sorry, 7910.
That's not the original one on 95th Street. Is that MSI?
Seattle. Like me locally.
We can't hear you. Your volume is very low. We got our mic like all the way up.
Seattle.
All right, 60.
3737, you available? Star.
37, what do you got?
All right. You'll get the trouble breathing now. 10211 Prairie. Trouble breathing.
Beyonce.
Well, 211 Prairie, just can't breathe.
Is she coming out?
Negative.
Alright, so
Press it, 5 9. There we go.
Charlie and UCR.
You want to find anything, Connie?
Case number?
026.
Just reach out to Stream Dispatch. You don't want to assume that that's not one of the things. Another thing possibly. It may be possible, but just reach out to Stream Dispatch. You told me on that phone. So.
Should have been. Charlie Henry Dead Inspector. I don't
On West March at drug quarters.
Date of birth?
28 August 1972.
What is that?
It's related.
Anyway.
No.
220 pounds.
Any decomp written or message?
Yes, 203.
Can you try to reach out to my we're not a fax.
All right, let me know. 7 in Citywide, getting a call of a person staff, 1217 West 73rd Street, 1217 West 73rd on the second floor. Robert, the grandson, stated his grandmother is stabbed inside the bathtub. She's not awake or breathing. Fires around. Got no 31.
1213 West 73rd Street. Grandma stabbed in the bathroom. 1213 West 73rd Street. Grandma stabbed in the bathroom. Grandson called it in.
10 in Citywide, Progress 16 in Longdale, on so station results for finding one person for block notice here, whatever, available access to the city. And then,
71's going to 1217 on 73rd Street.
71, okay.
Yeah, River, if they move this body, possibly will it burst?
David and Mary, 88139. Jose de Jesus Vasquez, Jose de Jesus Vasquez, Stager, Gray over Black, 2008 Nissan 4-door, and you're requesting a full habit for the Nissan car.
20 pounds, right? Just looking at him, or has the body swollen up where he'll weigh more?
Sure.
So maybe closer to 300
is arriving will be 295. 295 all in. Okay. 3320, 10 for. 74 returning for those.
Okay, so what?
Anything to
go with the body? Paperwork, belongings?
We're going to a fight on 51st and Dan Ryan. It's supposed to be. You're watching SubX.News live. We're going to. There's supposed to be a crash on Dan Ryan Expressway by 51st Street and a fist fight in the middle of the highway. There's also supposed to be a grandma stabbed in a bathroom on 73rd Street. The grandson called it in. She's in the bathtub, stabbed.
Truck 20.
There's some more concrete falling. See that there, like yesterday?
331.
Can I order body removal?
You sure can. Give you
Yeah.
one second, okay? Yeah, truck 20. You have quite a few cars. 1, 2, 3, 4 en route.
Let's proceed.
Victory 75 traffic stop. 290 eastbound 17th Ave. 290 eastbound 17th Ave. Gray Nissan. Referring to B257.
Stolen car.
B257.
That's a stolen car they're talking about. Look at those potholes, huh?
Go ahead.
331. What we promised to put in body removal?
74, 47, South Shore Drive, apartment 22K.
74th and South Shore Drive, body removal. It's probably somebody deceased.
Yeah, they can.
Just not all body removals are homicides or murders. The police do that too.
447 South Shore Drive.
Stolen car. Again, this is a different scanner page here I'm listening to now.
Return.
Return.
Yeah.
1005. 1005. I return 65.
So there's...
If you don't find anyone there, they might be closer to Van Buren.
Okay.
So 3 things are going on. There's a guy with a knife on a metro train, sounds like, or a CTA, metro train. 1. Second, a lady's dead in a bathtub or stabbed in a bathtub on 73rd Street, and there's a fight down here on 51st into Dan Ryan. Plus a few other things happened, a few other dead bodies they found, one on South Shore. So we got about 2-3 dead people. We got a guy with a knife, and we got a fight on the highway. So it's what we're dealing with right now.
What's your RD? Yeah.
5078 RD JK 235904.
And this is a different thing you're listening to.
One more time, please.
-43. 43. 43 subject 6 versus 1643 Tui. 1643 Tui. We're on our way.
02244. The name.
Loyola Northwest assignment.
Robert Ida Stamp. Number 86.
They're reading the name of a deceased body they found.
Norris.
Might not. It's that. Doesn't mean it's a homicide. So just means they found a dead body in a. Means that somebody called in. Somebody passed away in an apartment. That's that. Chicago police, that's their job. They do that stuff. They're the ones that do that here. Unless it's Chicago Fire Department, it's called. But usually it's the police that do that.
1008, 1008.
Ida, Nora, Eddie.
Okay, so this is going to be a female, white, black, Hispanic.
Female white, 5'1", 110.
Female white, dead, deceased.
L. Lincoln, 37163.
The decomp is from the hot water that was on her skin. So, yes, it's just hot water.
43, disregard 43. 43, taking the disregard.
Yep. They say it's natural to go, but there's no family. You got to think about it.
32 input. Okay, so you said for the cause of death. 32 on input. Thank you.
They believe it's natural, but natural, but since they were underwater, they want to check from the drowning involved.
636. Okay, you said bloating from the hot water, right?
Yes, but natural cause, they believe.
Salt Pound at Old Orchard. 24 South Pound at Old Orchard. Frank Mazda and Lake Stan on right.
Check out this fight on the Dan Ryan, right? On 51st Street.
The body is located in the tub, right?
We do that run with 1%.
In the tub.
And the tub does have water?
No, there's no water in the tub right now. It's the body.
Sorry, we need you with your truck at the test page 2340 man.
Body in a bathtub, no water in it. That's the white. Sounds like natural causes. Yeah, I don't know this stuff. This is a different system, so you might get a little gruesome. That's just the way life is, man.
All right, 3388, there is no further. This was called in by Northwest Central only. She was calling them on 911 over the phone. They cannot call her back. There's just a general pain, and that's only so she got back a few times. And that was my investigation. We have your request. Accept medicine response from the time that we make contact with while they're still at home. Make sure you stay on scene until their body is loaded into the vehicle and taken away, okay?
And for what the time when it's being notified, I notified that they were notified.
Time on my clock now is 17:52.
All right, thank you.
And I have starting project ready. Sorry, mileage.
Signal is still tickets.
Hi, Chad. So we have an updated location.
Trouble breathing. 1250 West 119th Street.
Full 50 West 100.
Helicopter right there. Police helicopter, see it? A lot of new developments here. You see what happens? They tear down McCorkle School, then they put those developments up. So you think about this. They're tearing down McCorkle, predominantly black grammar school that served the Robert Taylor home.
53 North Kershaw.
Right? And they're tearing it down while who's the mayor? The black mayor who says he was an organizer in the teachers union against school closings. But he's tearing down a historically black school while they're building condos, townhomes across the street. You figure, well, where are they going to send their kids to? Well, once everybody is not looking, then I say, oh, we need to build a new school. That's how it'll work. You'll see. We're going to be too old for that stuff. I'm 60, so that'll happen in 10 years when I'm 70. I won't be thinking about that stuff when I'm 70. I'll be doing something else. I might be doing some beach stuff. I might be selling pictures of parrots on the beach. You know the guy that has the parrot on the beach? Or lizards? I don't like lizards that much, but a parrot. You know, he has the nice birds and he puts them on your shoulder, takes a picture, you give him $10. I might do that job. We'll see. I was thinking about that years ago. I like that job. Simple. Take care of some birds and take pictures. Not too hard. SubX.News on the spot reporting, 5:55 p.m.
Thank you. That is 10121, 10121. And I can come in. 640.
51st Street, let's go see.
311, place CO. We're getting our readings around 50. Can we have a gas company come here and we also have the cheaper right here? I'm trying to find the source right now.
Carbon monoxide leak. That's a carbon monoxide leak.
Your gas company, battalion 3, battalion 3.
Yeah, you have to check the 419 it says they got red dot traffic at the top of 7011. Southbound line, yes, 31st and late 4th. You got a plate or anything on it? 40990?
Yeah, it's going to be 4281415. It's red Dodge Ram, lifted.
Stolen car.
4281511 boy. Car 24, you're being held. Tower 24, return.
415 boy, getting off at 31st.
Tower 24 as well.
Southbound in traffic. Yeah, that is correct.
It's a stolen car.
We are.
They were talking about a stolen car there in the highway.
You got the run on it. Good place. Repeat that. You have the run there with shot 3. No, community address, please. It'd be 311 Wentworth, 2 plates.
53rd and Wentworth, that's...
311 Wentworth.
There's a stolen car right here, right around us, 53rd and Wentworth. That's right in back of us here, right? 35th and Wentworth, stolen car. 35 and Wentworth, stolen car, going westbound.
Chief office.
Looks like the fight's over with over here. So we might go look at that stolen car. I don't want to go. There's the lady was stabbed over there.
Yes, man, I'll go with a refusal document with Masonic, Police Beach 2012 on the scene. We'll take that run with our truck. I'll make it.
Stolen car is right behind us. We'll go up.
They got no other information as far as why, other than this was just traffic.
There's all gentrifying over here, right? They had a machine gun killing at that house there a few years ago. That's a state trooper right there. They're waiting for that stolen car. See that there? That's a trooper there. See that trooper there? So there was a machine gun killing right here before. Right there at that house. 37th and Parnell. Right up here. We might go right head to head to the car right here. There's a stolen car heading towards us right now. 37 and Parnell. 38th and Emerald. Cul-de-sac. Southbound Halstead, stolen car. You see the cars going there? There's the state troopers in back of me right now. We're gonna match up to it right here, man. Oh man, what is that? A truck? Right here, it's gonna be right here. Stolen car coming up.
That's probably no problem. Correct. Right now it's southbound Halstead, about 42nd.
Southbound Halstead, 42nd. It's gonna be right here. Stolen car. And it's gonna pass us up. It's gonna pass us up right now. We're live. This is SubX.News. 43rd Halstead, stolen car. This is Halstead up here, ain't it? Where am I at? I'm on 51st still, or where am I? 43rd place in Halstead.
Emerald. The vehicle is still on the move. Northbound Union from 43 place.
It's Union, ain't it? There we go, man. Let's go.
The vehicle is now eastbound 43 from Union.
Right here. We're on Union. I told you they were right here. It's right in front of us. One guy bailed. You see the helicopter up there, right? We're right in the middle of a crime scene right now. We don't know what this car's for. It was stolen. One guy jumped out over here. They're underneath the train track. Southbound 43rd, underneath the train track. They might be right here somewhere, the criminals. I gotta watch myself. I'm gonna lock my car, man. Wentworth is that way. 43rd and Wentworth. That's right here somewhere. 48. So one guy bailed, and the car's still moving. 45th. And we're right here. We might see these suckers, man. We might hope we don't have a head-on crash with them, man. You gotta watch these guys. They're maniacs. They're right here somewhere. There's the school here. Wentworth, right here. They're over here stuck in traffic. See the state troopers? They're all around here. Eastbound 47th, Wentworth. So they're going towards the city. We're on 47th? Damn right. They're right in front of us. They're right in front of us. It's right here. See the helicopter? There's a police helicopter right above us. Don't you see it right up there? Southbound 47th from southbound state from 47. It's right in front of us, man. There you go. You see the cops in front. Oh, we gotta watch out. We don't want to get in an accident here. There, the helicopter's right up there. You see it? I don't know what color is the card. Southbound state. Oh. There you go. There's the state trooper. That's that black car. You see the black car over there? That was that trooper we seen around there. Remember that car right there? That one right there. SubX.News. I can't. Oh man, they're traveling all around here, man. What's up, Flacco? They're chasing a crook car. One guy bailed. One guy bailed already. They're on 53rd and State. They're on Garfield. You see, they don't chase them. You see that they're right there? They don't chase. They let them crash or bail. Where it is at? We're in Chicago on the south side. That's where we're at. 47th and Wells right now. They're chasing a stolen car. Southbound on State right now. So they're across the highway. One guy bailed in back of us here on Princeton, I believe. 59th and State. 59th and State. That's where they're at right now. 59th and State. So they're zigzagging, right? The one guy bailed. I think they might have got them in custody. And now there's another state trooper right now, right in back of us. They just hang around. They don't chase these guys, I'm telling you. They drive around doing whatever they want. So we're State Street.
We might lose it for a little while here. Stay quiet, Doug.
There you go. There's the helicopter's tracking them. They can't have a squad behind them. It's against the policy of Chicago police. They go underneath the viaduct. Sometimes they jump out and they switch cars. They'll have another car under a viaduct. They'll switch. That was a cop behind me right now. They're all staged. They're on 63rd right now. They went underneath the viaduct. 6-3 and Wentworth, so they're cutting back the other way now. See, they're zigzagging. He was all the way on 43rd and
the night picture empathy about that. Okay, switch the phone quick. Alright, we'll switch over. I only have city my distance there. But if they don't able to keep going. I won. First. Go 50 first. That's up. 53. But sir, northbound State Street. Go turning westbound on 63.